Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Let's begin our session with a wonderful quote. When you find an idea you just can't stop thinking about, that's probably a good one to pursue. Good evening, everyone. I Shilpi Kumari Prasad, being your host today of today's international webinar on the topic "The Power of Being Humble." Extends my warm greeting and a very good evening to all of you present here. As we know that the entrepreneurs plays the role of innovators to drive progress and to create a competitive age. They identify opportunities, generates ideas, and develops new products or services. Entrepreneurs brings about positive change by introducing unique solution or disrupting existing market. Successful entrepreneur identify business opportunities and develops a solid business plan to guide their and they leverage their opportunities to create successful businesses that offers valuable products and services to the market, and by doing so they contribute to the economic growth and raise the standard of living in their communities. Taking about SEMS Welfare Foundation, we are a Section 8 not-for-profit company registered under the Companies Act 2013 with various recognition from NITI Aayog, MSME, MPCON, DDUGKY, and more recognized as well as this startup by DIPP MCIN awarded Best Service Award for international for national contribution. SEMS Group, with an active network of 5,000 plus professionals, public books, and international journal, organized educations and health camps for underprivileged children, promoted digital and financial literacy, and contributed to the society. Our initiative, Digi Saksham, has developed content for 300 plus courses in IT, BFSI, retail, entrepreneurship, impacting diverse age groups. And we have executed a skilling project for 600 inmates, signed moves for training, collaborated with various organizations, and conducted international conference. FemLeads, another SEMS initiative, empowers women through workshops and newsletter, conducting awareness program in digital literacy, marketing, and career developments across different industries. We have impacted over thousands women across states and recently celebrated a milestone of 100 women associated with the program. On behalf of the whole SIMS family, I welcome you all for today's international webinar on role of entrepreneur in creating impact in society. And to add our guest of honor, today's speaker is Arjun Mittal. It is a great honor to have you with us, sir. We are grateful to your presence here with us today. Now, let me introduce to you to the speaker. He is a founder and CEO of the Envinova, and he's a motivational speaker too.
Hello, thank you for the introduction and inviting me. Good evening, everyone. So I am Arjun Mittal, founder and CEO of Envinova Smart Tech, a company working in green technology. So starting with it, first of all, I'd like to wish you all a very happy World Environment Day. I think so. Today, I'm privileged that I get to share with you my journey on this very occasion, wherein we as a company are dedicated ourselves to contributing to the Mother Earth. And to begin with, I'll share with you a small presentation that I've prepared for you all to just understand the basics of entrepreneurship and the impact that entrepreneurs can create, and followed by my journey. So let's just define what an entrepreneur is. So entrepreneur is someone who is entering into business. He's building from scratch. And the difference between an entrepreneur and a businessman is the innovation. You innovate something with your knowledge, with your experience, with the problems that you're seeing around, and you try to make a business out of it. So that's the basic definition of what an entrepreneur is. And when we talk about startup versus traditional business, so traditional business is are like the businesses that are around you. Maybe it's a Kirana store or a cloth market or any business around you. But that is just someone who is trading or doing business. What difference does a startup make? It is solving a problem, maybe a problem that is faced by all of us, and it's trying to drive an impact in the society. So basically a problem that we all are facing in our day-to-day lives. Maybe it's a sectorial problem, maybe it's a problem, let's say, faced by farmers, or maybe it's a problem faced by bus drivers, or maybe by the common man or by students, things like that. So different areas of life, a startup is trying to solve those problems, and at the same time he's trying to drive the impact, being scalable. So the main difference between a startup and a traditional business is that startups are scalable because they are not just seeing it at a city level, they're seeing at a country level, or most importantly, globally. Let's just discuss some examples of everyday common names. I am assuming all of us have been acquaintance to these startups like Flipkart, Zomato, Ola, Paytm, Oyo, Unacademy. These startups are revolution. They are the ones that created that Indian startup ecosystem, wherein someone just thought that let's make an app to deliver food so that people can have access to best cafes and restaurants right at their home. And Zomato was created. Paytm, it changed the way we are doing finance right now. With the introduction of UPI and cashless transactions, Paytm has revolutionized the way we are doing businesses or day-to-day transactions, and it has impacted all of our lives. And that is something a startup can do. It can create an impact in the society. So when we are talking about impact, this impact can be broadly classified into economic impact, social, or environmental. So economic growth, it drives employability. The one famous quote which everyone says is be a job creator instead of being a job seeker. And that's the beauty of it. When I started with my journey, I remember that I got a message on LinkedIn with someone saying that, sir, I lost my job due to the current layoffs that are going around, and I'm the sole breadwinner of my family. So can you please provide me the job? And it was at that time it hit me that how beautiful it is that as an entrepreneur you can drive employability, you can give people the way to meet their needs, and that is why everyone is focusing on being job creators. We see that India is on higher rates of unemployment right now, and that is where the startups are bringing in, because they are creating new jobs for all. And at the same time, they are boosting your economic growth as well, entering the business value chain, the products they are selling, the services they are selling to the companies, to people around. They are driving the GDP growth that we as a nation want to see. And the best example of it is Infosys. Narayan Murthy, he could just have been another engineer working in some tech company, but he chose a different path. He chose to build a company, Infosys, and it is one of the largest IT companies in India, employing over lakhs of people every year. And that is the revolution that startups aim to bring. And when we are talking about social impact, we startups are trying to solve the societal issues, bringing the change in fields of healthcare, education, reducing inequalities, giving access to food, water, shelter, these basic things. They are nurturing. And for best example that I believe in this sector is Stand Plus. This is a startup that is working out of Hyderabad, and they have the aim to have ambulance reach within 8 minutes. I think so. When we're talking about metro cities, there are brands like Zepto, etc., which are trying to deliver groceries within 10 minutes. But to have an ambulance in 8 minutes, that's just the next level of revolution and the impact that these startups can create in our lives. And then lastly, the environmental impact, to address the climate change using renewable energy, waste disposal, making our lives better, sustainable, and giving us a healthy lifestyle. I think so. This is the best way that startups are addressing these challenges. And the first one in this was Ather Energy, that brought EV two-wheelers into the Indian market back into 2013. Two fresh college graduates working into this field, making an impact in our lives, which we today can feel. And I think so. Everyone knows about Shark Tank, and this was the pitch of the season of Jugadu Kamlesh. If you just see at his story, he's a humble farmer's son who just had a simple idea that my father, he's having physical strain carrying those fertilizer backpacks every day, and that is a problem. And then he saw that this problem is faced by a lot of farmers. All he did was invent something new to solve this problem, and he even got funding on Shark Tank. And that's the whole idea of a startup, just to see those little problems in your day-to-day lives, something that you can solve, something innovative that you can bring in to help and address masses. And at the same time, you're building business out of it, you are generating employment, and that's the best part of a startup. And so startups, they are completing the ecosystem chain. We always blame to government that the government is not doing this or that, and then there are corporates, there are businesses, NGOs, and then it's us, the common man, who's the customer. A startup is bridging the gap between all these entities. It's creating the value chain that we always seek for. Startups are working with the governments, they are working with the corporates, businesses, NGOs. Everyone cannot solve everything, right? So that's the way where startups come in. They are solving those little problems that these institutions have been facing for so long years, so that they can deliver what they mean to deliver to the end customer, that is us, that is the humans, and to the society. So startups are creating that impact in our day-to-day lives. But then there's a new term that's coined around that, is it entrepreneur or rather sociopreneur? Sociopreneur or a social entrepreneur is an individual who combines social and business elements in an effort to create positive social change. So all you are doing is you are taking a business at one side, you are thinking of a social mission, you combine it both, and you are a sociopreneur. Working someone for a society to create a value in the society, and at the same time making a business out of it. And that is where my personal analogy of valuation versus value creation is there. So valuation is just a number. Now we see that this company is a unicorn, and so it has 100 crore valuation, 1,000 crore valuation, or things like that. Some common terminology that has been around, especially after Shark Tank. And these are just statistical formulas. At the end of the day, you need to realize that all these are numbers. Valuation is just a number on a paper that gives you a monetary value, but it's not real, to be very honest. The real part is the value creation that you can bring in. And this is what a startup should be. You need to create a value by adding a difference to the society. If you're doing just the same things that other businesses are doing, you're just another business. But if you are able to create a difference to the society, by easing human effort in daily activity, create jobs, combat global problems at grassroots levels, at city levels, at state, country levels, anything that adds up to meaning to the work that you're doing. And that is what a startup should be, or an entrepreneur should aim for. And there's nothing wrong with playing a valuation game, having those numbers around. But as long as you have a purpose driven startup, that's all that matters today. And to take you through a journey of how a startup process looks like. So first comes the ideation stage. Then this concept development, prototype building, customer discovery, market validation, and launch of the product. To brief you about, ideation is when you're struck with you see a problem, and your mind starts running that this might be a problem that people are facing today. And then you start to execute your plans, you pen down your plans, you make a concept, you start building a prototype, whether it's an app or a product, anything hardware or software. And then you realize that now I've created a product. Do I have a customer for it? Because you have to make a business, right? So you start going with a customer discovery, and you validate your product with the market. You start going out with your prototype, making people use it, and understanding the differences, and then you finally launch. But these all these later steps, they are doable. The first step of having an ideation to a concept development is the most time consuming step, because this is the time wherein you will have a lot of apprehensions about yourself. Am I going in the right direction? Am I going to fail? Or things like that. And if someone is having the same idea, there's already competition, things like that. There's like numerous thousands of things going around in your mind. And then the simple thing is, version 1 is better than version 0, right? So that is where you have to start somewhere. Starting is the most time consuming step. Once you start, you will definitely figure things out later. Don't worry about being unique, rather just focus on working on an idea, because it is the execution that will matter. People can have two similar ideas, so don't worry about having maybe someone will steal my idea or something like that. You ought to discuss it at a college level. You ought to discuss it with your friends around, with your college professors, so you can get feedback on it, and you can actually develop into a concept. And no idea is actually unique. 1,000 people are having the same idea. It's just your vision. And what differentiates your vision is with what mission you want to start your startup. That is to create the right value for your customers. As a startup owner, you have to create the right value for the customers, for your investors, for your sales, for your employees, for the team, for everyone, all the stakeholders involved. So all you have to do is hold on to your vision, and your business will work. But at the same time, you need to start somewhere. Now I'll move on to my journey. So I am fairly young entrepreneur. I started my mechanical engineering in Punjab University in 2018. So, a fresh college graduate enrolled into mechanical. And then in 2019, so we were building a Formula racing car when I got the opportunity to present a business plan. So, a 19-year-old making the first business plan to be presented to the jury. That was my first exposure to, something where if a product can be converted into business. And that's when these roots of being an entrepreneur, it hit me that maybe I do have the skill set wherein I can build something. And then it passed on when I went to IIT Delhi to present a business plan. So I was working with a startup, just to gain exposure of how things are running around, of how corporate is, of how a startup is. And I think so that experience really, really counts today, because it gave me the confidence that, I can be someone. So when I presented it to this, so we had jury from IIT Delhi, from IIC Bangalore, from Mumbai, all these top colleges, people were there, and they appreciated the idea and the business plan. And that is when I realized that, dreams do come true, but all you have to do is start somewhere, figure out yourself, is this really what you want to do? And, that exposure, it really helped me building my confidence as an entrepreneur. And then next came, another event wherein I was heading a team. So I was in second year of my college, and I headed a team for a go-kart championship in Bhopal. And, we won the championship. It was the first time someone from our college, being such a young team, it was able to win the whole championship. And so from these, so, from your college only, it starts, wherein you are working with the team, you lead a team, you make business plans and things like that, you manage things, that you get all these qualities that, from this on, from these experiences, I can now move further to building an actual business. And then when Corona hit, so I was given with a challenge, problem statement that, sanitizer dispenser should be there, automatic, hands free. And so I was able to build one, and luckily I built enough, the India's cheapest one, and I was recognized by Times of India for the same. And which really helped me, to gain exposure to the real world, wherein how I understood what cost optimization in a product is. And that's when my journey of my startup began. So to be on, so we are working in the field of charging stations. So back in August 20, I with my co-founder, we were sitting in a college ground, and we wanted to work on our laptops on a project that we were working at that time. And then we were outside that cafe area, and our laptop's battery died. So it hit us, we want to work outside, but there's no charging facility around. And maybe this could be a large problem, because when we are talking about smart infrastructure, sustainable infrastructure, India is lacking. Even though being in a city like Chandigarh, these things were lacking. And that's when it hit us that, this is an idea that we want to work on. And then in February 21, so I talked with my parents. I was a third year graduate student. I talked with my parents that I want to build a startup, and no one was taking me seriously. So I just went on and registered my company. So, let's say, so I have a private limited company on paper. I have started hiring interns for the company, and now it's real, it's very real. And that's the same time when I landed my job in KPMG from my college. But after working for a month, I had the option to either continue working on my startup or, leave the job. And I decided to resign, because I think so that's the whole point, right? To be focused on a startup. Maybe, startup fails at some point in my journey, maybe not, but you ought to try, right? That's the whole point. And so we had a brief period when we looked at other things, and we launched an e-commerce website, and we were selling eco-friendly products. So what we did was we sourced products made of bamboo, jute, copper, etc. from all over India. We worked with local artisans for the same, understood their problems, and brought all these products in our platform. And that's when we had our first warehouse in Mohali. And the first ones are always been special. And after having the warehouse, my college gave me my first office cabin. And but unfortunately, after a year, we had to shut this part down, because we, as I said, startups may fail, they may get success, you never know. But things happen. But then we were determined enough to work on our actual project, that was the charging stations. And that was the time when we launched our solar hut in January 2023. So this is the first prototype that we had built, and me and my co-founder, we built this product for 2 years in our college workshop, all by ourselves, pouring in the money, having everything done in our workshops, and with so much grit, so much resilience. We didn't know if it could be turned into a business later on, but the idea was to put the product out, to put it out in the market and test it. And that's the first pilot project that, all you have to do is, so that from there in your actual journey of a startup begins. And so now these are some of our projects that we have done in Tri-City, and now we are we are expanding to different states, and these are some of the great projects of these charging stations that we are doing. And it has like facilities like mobile charging, laptop charging, a digital screen to advertise your product, lighting, there's CCTV to create a safe environment, then there's Wi-Fi, and everything we are doing around. So this is all powered by solar energy. So we are committed to being 100% renewable. So we are not bringing any electricity from any grid, totally working on solar energy, because that's the idea, to create a social impact as well as at the same time create an impact on positive impact on the environment. And we want to be we are a carbon neutral company, and we want to work in the same direction, become carbon negative fully. And then this comes the highlight project, solar hut, that we were fortunate enough to install in Ayodhya in January, just before the Pran Pratishtha. We were one of the 6 startups that were selected to work in Ayodhya, and this project that we did with Reliance. And this journey is very special for us, because when we started out, people said that there are big brands like Reliance, Adani, etc., that will leave you out of the competition. And we said no, we want to start. We, as a startup, we don't want competition looking us down, but we rather would want to work with them. And that's what happened. We worked with Reliance, and this project was special indeed, because usually the project time it takes is 15 to 20 days, but we had the challenge of doing it in just 5 days. Especially, we are operating out of Chandigarh, where we have our manufacturing facility, and we have to install in Ayodhya, a place where we knew literally no one. But I think so. Where there's a will, there's a way, and things started happening. My co-founder, he lived for Ayodhya, and he started with installation work over there. I was in the factory, working day and night to build the product with our team, and so we did everything. We were working for almost 18-20 hours every day to just build the right product. And the beautiful part is that we were able to install it, in the right time. And just before the Pran Pratishtha, the day before it, it was inaugurated by Vishal Chand, the IS officer over there. And the response was phenomenal that we got on the product. And, these are some of those days, when you realize that, yes, you're working in the right direction. And, it was the right decision to build a startup. And this is the impact I'm talking about. When we launched the product, we inaugurated it for the public. Within 5 minutes, we had 40 people waiting in line to charge their mobile phones. It has a capacity of around 16 to 20 people at a time, and everyone was so patiently waiting for their turns to charge their mobile phones. And when I saw these people, they were sitting down. So most of them were tourists coming from other states, and they had a relaxing place where they could sit, they could charge, call their family members, make those important calls which they couldn't because of lack of charging in the mobile phone. And when I saw this, that feeling that came from within, that yes, this is right. This is right. This is what we need. This is the future of Indian infrastructure, and this is what we want to do. And every pain was worth it. And that is why startups are tough. We only get one good day out of days a month. There's money involved, investors, valuation is a part, but that's the one thing that puts fire in your belly. It's the mission, what drives you, motivates you to be at work every morning, no matter how hard it gets. The impact and the value you can build. When I see people around using the product, we know over the last 1.5 year, I think so, thousands of people have used our product, and it is what drives me. To give these facilities to the common public, work with different governments, work, bridge those challenges that the government wants to give to people, but they face, and bring these innovations that the West has seen, but a country like India needs in the right time. It's the one thing that drives me to work. To wake up every morning and work. And it's rightly said, when the going gets tough, the tough get going, and that's what all you need. And then obviously there's the good part as well. The recognition part. So in 22, we were recognized as one of the top 75 startups by Startup India, and we were also selected as one of the 8 startups by Austrian and Indian Embassy for a startup delegation to Austria. And last year only, we were awarded with the Rising Startup of Bharat Award. And these are the few perks that you get along with building a business in the right direction. We are creating a social impact, we are creating an environmental impact, we are driving economic impact. And when someone recognizes these efforts, yes, it's worth every penny. And I feel proud to say that out of the 17 UN SDG goals listed, we are already fulfilling 6 goals in every category: social, economic, and environment. And we are supported by great organizations like IIT Roper, Punjab University, Startup India, CII. And the whole idea behind building a business is to set up these hubs and encourage people to venture out of their homes and have an amazing outdoor experience. And while at the same time build a business out of it. So it's a win-win. It's a win for the government. It's a win for us, and it's a win for the people. And why not? Why India is the best place, right? As a college graduate, you have the options to either move for government exam. You can move to abroad for higher studies, or you can go for a job, or you can build your own business. And India is now home to 1.2 lakh startups.
being the third largest startup ecosystem in the world, which has created over 12.5 lakh jobs, 114 unicorns, and India, with its goal of 2047, create a world power, being a developed nation, is the right time. As people, this is the right time. With the Shark Tank wave that came in 21, people know about startups. There are government policies there at college level, at institutional level, at state level, wherein you can avail those, you can build a business out of it without your expense as well. Most of it are in forms of grants. And that is why India is right now the best nation. All you have to do is, see problems around, feel those problems around, talk to people, and build a business out of it. Because if not now, then when? It's the best time, you can build a business. And this is one thing that I like to share, that startup journey is something like an iceberg. It's bigger than what is visible to the eye, because there's a lot of value and groundwork that puts into it. Talking about myself, as I shared, we started in 2020 with the ideation, and now it's 24. This 3 to 4 years of work and process, because no one sees the foundation of a building, right? But a building is nothing without its foundation. And that is what you need to realize, that with startups, you have to put in those efforts. You have to, work very hard, really hard, to build a business out of it. And work every day, but it's all worth it. People might not recognize it. It's just the very tip of the iceberg that they see, that it's just a company, you're a small startup, things like that. But at the end of the day, what value you have created, what value you have given to your customers, and that's the foundation that you would want to build your business on. And at the just doing the last, so measuring success, it's not the outcome, it's the process. Success is not about the destination, but it's all about how you reach the destination. And sometimes opportunities will come to you, but most of the times, when opportunity doesn't knock your door, build the door. So just figure out your problems around, see a product, build a business around it, and that's all you need to do. Stay motivated. You might fail, you might get successful, no one knows, but you have to start somewhere. And you know that with your vision of creating an impact in the society, if you have that vision, if you start with that, you can build a startup. And that is what India wants right now. That is what the people around the world, around the globe, need right now, to have entrepreneurs working in the right direction, building the right products for them, and drive impact in the society as a large. So thank you, everyone. This is me, Arjun Mittal. Here I'm following up my contact details. I'll also leave them in the chat box for you to connect around, and I'll be happy to answer all your questions if you have. Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Mittal. Hello.
Hello. Yes.
I'm GD Garg. I served 10 years in Bhel and 27 is HL Lucknow. One of my relative had started a basket making for the scooters. Earlier, the scooters were having the basket and that
Okay.
wire basket, and he started on that project. He built this basket very good quality, but there was a lack of market for the baskets. So whenever he was putting the baskets in the market, they were keeping it, but the money realization was very late. And because of that, he has to close that. So what should be done in such cases where the startup is failing?
Right. So what I have seen in my journey is that as entrepreneurs, we are very passionate about the product. We love our product because it's like our baby, right? But the thing is, we have to understand that we have to sell it to someone, and is it the right value for your customer? So one thing that I actually say to all people is that when you have an idea, just build a very cheap prototype out of it, so that you are not spending too much on it. Once you have built the prototype, talk to your potential customers. So let's down. So let's say if it's a scooter market, so he has the bicycle dealerships, or companies who are into this sector. These are his potential clients, in the beginning, and because you have to do a market survey. And the best part, in today's generation, is like you can do these online surveys that's almost free of cost. You have to go around, talk to people if they are actually willing to buy the product. So let's say this basket, it costs 1,000. You put the product out and talk to these people that, are you willing to buy this product? And if you see a positive response, only then you should start a startup, right? Because as you mentioned, that now he's trailing for money. He built the product, he spent thousands on it, building the product and the whole setting it up. Now he's trailing. So if you get to that point, there are two things. you should know the right time to quit. Is it not working? Or you do a second approach. You try to see where are my sales lagging. Is there a similar product? Do we have competition? And if there's competition, at what maybe the price point is the challenge, or the shape of the product, or things like that. So whatever customers who have purchased, take constant feedback from them. If they were facing a problem, or are they willing to pay that price, and work on those aspects. And even if things don't work out, then maybe you should know that it's the time to quit and move to another journey of your life. So that's the only way around this.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mittal.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Sir, you have talked about the solar hut project which was placed in the community. So, how much it took the cost, and the components for the solar hut? How can you buy or make it? Please elaborate.
Okay. So the first prototype that we built, it costed us somewhere around 2.5 lakhs. A part of it was paid by college. A part we had to pay from our own pocket, because that's the that was the condition from our college, that you have to put skin in the game, right? So that's how we built the prototype. Right now, our product, we are selling it somewhere. It ranges. It starts at 1 lakh, and it goes up till 4.5 lakh. And right now we are doing projects with the government and private sector. And if someone wants to set it up, they can directly contact us over our email through our website, LinkedIn, social handles, and that's the process. I hope I answered your query.
Yeah. What a wonderful knowledge given by you, sir. I hope our audience learns many new things from this session, and I would like to highlight some of the points like University of Freedom, University of Free Will, University Right to Choice. So, sir, there are few questions which our audience wants the answer. So, with your permission, shall we proceed to ask the questions?
Sure.
Yes, sir. So, the first question is that, how do entrepreneur drive innovation and technological advancement in their industry?
So it basically starts with what industry you are in. I think so right now, if you have to categorize, it starts at college level right now, because we have seen that colleges are supporting a lot of entrepreneurs into making innovation. And begin with, let's say you are from engineering background and you are working on some project. So right now, you can work with your professors or your college mates, on those products, and see if they can be turned into a business after doing market surveys. So that's from engineering background. From if you're from commerce, you can see into financial, banking solutions or things like that. The tech part can be easily built. All you need to find is the problem, because top of my head. So for when GST came, so everyone was having difficulties into managing their accounts, and then a company called Tally, it made its solution, to simplify your GST payments and things like that. And that is, from every sector, all you need to do is find problems around yourself, how you can build it. Just identify the problem and then drive innovation. And it's not just at college level. Even if you're working as an employee in some company, in whatever company you're working, if you find a loophole, many people found, for example, in law firms, people found that, when clients want to approach these law firms, they were having difficulties. So someone went ahead and built a legal law firm. Online you can get those answers, and they streamline the process for the customers, things like that. So entrepreneurship is just around you. You just need to identify a common problem faced by all, build a concept around it, and you can drive innovation. The tech part can be built, resources will come in. It's just the problem that you need to identify in the.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for your answer, sir. And the next question is that what all role do social entrepreneurs play in addressing social issues and promoting social change?
Sorry, I lost your voice. What do?
Yeah, the next question is what all roles do social entrepreneurs play in addressing social issues and promoting social change?
Right. So see, it's again the kind of startup that you want to build. For example, there's a startup called Make Love No Scar. So that is a woman started by Riya Sharma, who is working on a startup for acid attack victims. That's a very, maybe it's a very a problem that has been from ages. And she's working in those in that direction to help those victims, to have a better life, to lead a better life, and things like that. So these are the problems that we face around, at village level, or even at city level. There are problems around us, and people are building businesses around it. For example, even in my presentation, I mentioned about Red Hill, that is getting those ambulances in less than 8 minutes. They are driving the social impact. So it's something that people are touched upon when we talk. When you talk about two different entrepreneurs who are working in different fields, and someone maybe is working in psychology, someone is working in mental health, people are working in medical health or edtech. These are the problems that are faced by the society, right? They just found those problems and started to work on that, and that's what's required in the end of the day. And this is something, if someone wants to just say that this is a problem of the government, they should solve it. No, government has its challenges. MNCs have their challenges. It's the startups that are stepping up, the entrepreneurs that are stepping up to solve these problems and bring that change. And I think so this can only be done by entrepreneurs, right? Because they have the right mindset to address these changes, to address to the common public and bring that change.
Yeah. So the next question is that please provide some example of entrepreneur ventures that have a positive impact on the community.
See, I'll try to answer with the most common startups that we have around. So with startups like Ola and Uber, so they have created a revolutionary impact in the way we travel. Right, there was a lot of problem in having access to a safe public transport, and that is where these companies came in, especially in the big metro cities. Connecting these people, and the beauty of it is when it started out metro cities. Right now, we have people, local entrepreneurs that are building such travel apps, or such commute services for their villages. And that is the beauty of India, right? You start with something at metro cities, and now it's in the villages. The problem of commuting from point A to point B is solving. And then at the same time, now we have startups like Blue Smart that is bringing in EV fleet, totally operating on EV. And I think so that is the future here, right? Someone started it, that there's a problem to solve the commute. Ola came in, then came Blue Smart, who's working with EVs, and maybe who knows, someone other companies are coming in hydrogen vehicles. So that's the constant innovation that startups are bringing in. And then again with startups like Zomato or Swiggy, wherein we can get our food delivered within like 30 minutes from all the cafes. It's driving these cafes around. There were many outlets that were shut down or get closed because they were not getting enough recognition. But now these are operating. Their cloud kitchens that people are operating from their homes as well, which Zomato has given the opportunity. So if we see at a larger ecosystem, people used to say that Zomato is a company that is being operated in losses. No, it was a company that was making you, developing you the habit to order from their portal. Now, right now, if you talk about metro cities, people are habitual to getting Zomato delivered every day. And that was the whole plan. And, if you see, it has given the restaurant and cafes economic drive. It has given employability to the drivers around who are getting our food packages delivered, right? So it has been building community around it, and at the same time, Zomato has driven a social change as well. There are people who are handicapped, but they are still delivering food for us. That's the kind of social change that these startups are bringing in our day-to-day lives.
Yes, thank you, sir. And my last question is that what all impact do entrepreneurial ventures have on global issues such as poverty, health, and inequality?
See, startups do have a large impact. When we are talking about things like poverty, reduced inequalities, etc. We have seen Indian startups that are making it global now. There are companies that are going global. For example, there's a company called Renew Energy. That's listed at the New York Stock Exchange as well, and it's working in the field of renewable energy. And so they are installing solar plants and things like that all around the world, wherein they are driving free electricity for these people in in rural areas of other countries as well. And that is something, it started out with as a startup 10-12 years ago, and now it's working in this domain. So the idea is, whatever field you're working in, you need to have a larger impact in mind. Talking about ourselves as well, we have expands to we have our plans to expand globally. And when we are talking about our product, to be specific, we are creating a community place. people from all races, etc. They are coming and using our product, and that's the kind of change that we are talking about. There's a poor man and rich man sitting at the same table at the same time, and that is what when you are having things like mind that I want to create these things. Then there are many startups that are bringing the local artisan stuff, the products that were made of bamboo, etc., that were in India for centuries. European people, American people, they are loving it, right? Because they didn't have access to such sustainable and healthy lifestyle. But India is giving them, startups are giving them. So this is the kind of gap that they're bridging. When we are talking about global problems like climate change or poverty, things like that, startups they are working. They maybe have international counterparts or they are themselves expanding globally. But they are creating this impact and something that we'll all see in the coming next 5 to 10 years, where Indian startups have made it big globally.
Again, thank you all for attending today's webinar. And if you have any additional questions, you can contact us by email or telephone. We are happy to provide additional support to you. And please follow us on our social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel for new learning.